Hello, today we're going to be talking about how to write or more likely deal with a specific character in Worm, Contessa. Now, just a recap, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Contessa has the path to victory. She sees the number of steps she needs to take to accomplish any plan she sets out. Yeah. So, this has led to a lot of people going, well, I can't ignore this. How do I write this and include this in what? How am I supposed to deal with this when it's just gonna render my plot meaningless? And so there's a few ways to do it, and there's a few ways not to do it. And so the main idea is to use her in an interesting way. She's a tool like any other character. She's an aid to help you write what you want to write. Don't let that overtake the story you want to tell. It is completely natural and normal for her not to appear in a story. Like, she's powerful, but she's a bit of a overpowered person, but that's sort of what she's supposed to be. She is Cauldron's boogeyman for a reason. But you don't have to treat her like that in your story. You can just ignore her and presume she has better things to do with her time, because let's be honest, she probably does, unless your story hits a certain level of escalation. But you can also still just pretend she doesn't exist, because who cares? Maybe part of a plan is just letting you do what you need to do. You could just have that as that, and yeah. So, I just mentioned the one way which I feel is the easiest way anyway to deal with her, which is just to ignore her and not have to deal with that at all. Because it's hard to write Contessa right for multiple reasons. One of which is the fact that she's a very complicated character with a lot of interesting motivations, the fact that her power means that she doesn't get much conflict out of that area, and so you have to be very careful with how she interacts with things. But, the main thing is, once again, make her interesting. Do something interesting with her. For example, in Path to Munchies. It's this really, really interesting, slightly foreshadowed but incredibly complex plan in order to circumvent her restrictions and do all this, and there's all this beautiful stuff all going along in the background, and nobody really figures it out until the last moment, and then you think, hang on, what's going on here? And so that's the kind of intelligent, interesting use of Contessa that is just hard to find, honestly. And then you also have, it also humanizes her in a lot of ways. It's just really hard to do right. That said, she can also be the boogeyman, which was really what she was back in the Worm itself. You could use her as an unbeatable challenge or something like that, just to, this is where it ends, or, I don't know. There's ways you can use it. As long as you don't use it like a Deus Ex Machina kind of deal, you'll probably be fine. But don't have her show up, be incredibly strong, and then just, have the whole, oh my god, my character, my OC is so powerful they can beat them in one shot. That kind of... Don't do that. That's a waste of a character. If you want to show how strong something is, there's many better ways to do it, but don't waste a character like Contessa on that bullshit. Don't do that at all, actually. I might go into characters' powers and all that stuff some other time, but this is not that time. But yeah, so, Contessa can be really, really, really interesting. But she can also just ruin what you're trying to write. So be careful. Understand what you're trying to write. Understand what you need for that, and figure out whether or not Contessa is integral to that. And if she isn't, you might want to skip over it entirely unless you know exactly what you're doing. But yeah. See you guys next time.